Okay, sorry guys, I got interrupted, so now I'm restarting this problem and we'll figure it out from there. Okay, so function p is in the form of y equals ax squared plus c. If a and c are both less than 0, which graph can represent p? All right, so I just always make up numbers in this case. So if I know a and c are supposed to be less than 0, that means they're negative. So I made a negative 2. So I said y equals negative 2x squared, and then I'm going to say minus 3. Okay, so what does that tell me? We know this means it's reflected. Okay, this is going to tell me it's narrow or widened, but again, that doesn't matter if you look at your 4 pictures. Right away, I should see, okay, reflected. That means F should be canceled out and G should be canceled out right off the bat. Reflected, reflected. Then, because I know C is less than 0, it should be shifted down. If you notice, this one is not shifted down, this one is shifted down. My only answer choice is going to be H with my really awesome circling job. Okay? All right, table 5 represents the graph, and it says which of the graphs has the same relationship. Okay, whenever I'm given a table and I'm given equations, I go in and I do that linear regression stuff. So if I see these are all in y equals mx plus b form, I can go ahead and type in my information. You could also plug in your answers. That's another option. So you could go in and you could say, okay, x is negative 7.5 here. I'm going to plug in negative 7.5 and check which one's right. But I would always check at least 3 because you never know if it's right or wrong. Okay, other option. I'm going to go to my list and spreadsheet. I'm going to do x. I'm going to do y. And I'm going to type in my x's, negative 7.5, negative 3.5, negative 1, 2, 3.5. Okay, and then my y's, 12, 0, negative 7.5, negative 16.5, negative 21. Oop. Okay, I'm going to come over here, menu. Statistics, stat calculations. I know I'm doing linear regression, mx plus b. We are not doing this one, a plus bx. That is not our form. Okay, my x's is with my x, my y's is with my y's. I press OK. Here it is. My my m should be negative 3, and my b should be minus 10.5. So my answer is y equals negative 3x minus 10.5. So that should be letter A. So for me, I think pretty straightforward when you do it that way. You know your answer's right. You haven't messed anything up. You didn't get confused by any of the points. Good to go. Which expression is equivalent to 2x squared plus 7x plus 4? Okay, it looks like I'm going to factor. So we come over here. We've got our x. Remember, we've got a times c on top, and we've got b on the bottom. 4 times 2 is on top. That's 8. 7 is on bottom. Okay. I know that, let's see. Eight. And, ooh. So we've got, let's see, 4 and 2, that doesn't work. 8 and 1, that doesn't work. So it looks like I'm going to have to expand these out now and see which one would work. So I'm going to come over here because this all looks like I'm not doing something right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do plan B. Plan A didn't work. So I'm going to multiply these out. So don't freak out because you couldn't figure out the answer first. There is an answer there, I promise, okay? So I'm going to multiply 2x squared plus 8x minus x minus 8, okay, which is going to equal 2x squared plus 7x minus 8. Nope, that's not the same. I'm going to do my next one, 2x squared minus 8x plus x minus 4, which is going to equal 2x. Okay, which is going to equal 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. That doesn't work. Let's see, last one, 2x squared plus 8x plus x plus 4 is 2x squared plus 9x plus 4. That doesn't work either. So that's why we had a problem. We couldn't figure out our factors because none of these are the correct factors of this problem. So we should have freaked out in a good way because it didn't work at all. All right, next one. So this says the graph of 0.5x minus 2y equals 3 is shown below. So here's my graph. It says which ordered pair is in the solution set of the problem below. So they gave me an inequality. Now remember, I can do nothing with this until I get it into the right form. Okay, I have to get it into the y inequality mx plus b form, because what happens if I divide by a negative? My symbol flips and the whole thing's messed up. So first I'm going to get my x over here. Negative 0.5x. So I've got a negative 2y is greater than or equal to negative 0.5x plus 3. Oop, look at this. We're dividing everything by a negative 2. So y is going to be less than or equal to, and really it doesn't matter the rest of the equation because they've already graphed it. The main part is that we wanted to figure out which way the symbol went. Okay, so a negative 0.5 over a negative 2, you can just write it as 0.5 over 2x minus 3 halves. So they've already got this graphed, okay? Same equation. The only thing that mattered was my symbol. So remember, I put my pencil on my y-intercept. It says y is less than, which means all of this is shaded. So now I come over here. Which ordered pair is a solution? There's only one, so let's figure it out. Negative 2.5, that's up here. That doesn't work. 2, 1, that doesn't work. 2, negative 1, ooh, that's right on that line, and because it's a solid line, that works. Let's double check that this one doesn't work. Negative 2, negative 0.5 is going to be about here. That doesn't work. So they're testing your knowledge that you know that because it's on a solid line, it's a solution. Remember, we've talked about that so many times, okay? All right, next one. What value of x makes the equation a true statement? Okay, again, you're just solving for x, okay? Not a big deal here. We're just getting x by itself. So it's polynomial stuff again. So negative 5x, we want to distribute our negative, plus 7 plus 4x equals, we want to distribute this negative 2, negative 6x plus 8. Okay, I'm going to combine like terms over here. Negative 5x and 4x is negative x plus 7, and we've got negative 6x plus 8. I'm going to get all my x's over here just because I feel like it. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to add 6x. I've got 5 x's plus 7 equals 8. I'm going to subtract 7. I've got 5 x's equal 1. And then you should have divided both sides by 5. X equals 1/5. There was my answer. Okay, to me, we shouldn't get that one wrong. Pretty straightforward. All right. We have seen this one since this one was on our last test we took. The starting annual salary for an office worker at a company is $29,000. Okay, so that's our A, we know. That's our starting value. If the company awards an annual increase, so an increase of 6.2%, which graph models the situation of an office worker receiving X annual increases? So we know that this is going to be an exponential function because it's talking about yearly, it's talking about increase. We know that A is our starting value. We know that's 29,000, and we know that it's increasing, so 1 plus 0.062 raised to the X power, right? So right off the bat, let's look. We know our starting value is 29,000. Okay, that means let's see. Okay, this one looks at about 29,000, so we're gonna leave that one. This one says starting salary is 5,000, gone. This one says about 29,000, okay, we like that. And then this one says 5,000, we don't like that one. So, I now am gonna just go here. So I'm now gonna go here and I'm going to try to get that glare off for you guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and just graph this and see what it looks like. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna type in, let's see, 29,000 times 1.062 raised to the x power, and I'm gonna graph. I don't see it on my graph, so I'm going to menu, zoom to fit first. Okay, and I'm starting to see it. So now I'm gonna kind of zoom out a little bit and see what's going on here. And actually, I'm gonna go, my better bet is I'm gonna go to Control T and I'm gonna look at my table and see which points match the best. So if we look right here, this says 30,795. So if we look at one here, my one here is already at 45,000. My one here is just over, a little over 30,000. That looks pretty good to me compared to what my calculator said. Then it says 2 is at 32,000. That looks at about right. 2 for me here is already above 50,000. That can't be right. So we know A is our option. Okay, so here, I just used my calculator. I went to my table, I found which one matched appropriately, and I went from there. All right, number 10. Which expression is equivalent to the following? All right, this should be easy for us, okay? So we've got our steps. First step, do we have power raised to a power? I don't see that. Next step, do I have multiplication of like bases on top? No. Do I have multiplication of like bases on bottom? No. Next, do I have division? Yes. Now, we look at the whole numbers. 14 divided by 8. We can simplify that. If we look in our calculator and we just put 14 divided by 8, it's going to simplify to 7 over 4. Okay? Right away, that's going to cancel out G. Okay? Next, A4, A negative 2. I know A4 is bigger, so I'm going to do A4 minus a negative 2, which really means plus. That's A6. Okay, look at that. I just canceled out F and J. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to make sure that I didn't do anything wrong. B6, B3 is going to be 6 minus 3 is B3. That's what I have here. C negative 5 and C negative 10. This one is smaller. Okay, so negative 5 minus a negative 10 really means plus 10. And it's going to be C5 and it's on the bottom because technically this, not smaller, I said smaller, it's the larger of the negative. I'm trying to word that appropriately. Negative 5 is bigger than negative 10. I'd rather be in debt $5 than $10, right? So the higher number is at the bottom, so I want to put C5 at the bottom, which leaves me as my answer choice as H. All right, next one. Let's see if we can see the whole thing on here. There we go. Linear function y equals x is graphed on a coordinate plane. The graph of the new line is formed by changing the slope to 2/3 and the y-intercept to 4. Which statement is true? So I know I'm starting with this graph, y equals x. Okay, I'm now changing it to y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Now, if you don't remember our cues, okay, you can always take your calculator, go to your graph, and graph both of them. Y equals x, and then press tab, and then y equals 2/3 x. Oops, didn't finish. Plus 4. Okay, so if you notice between this graph and this graph, it got a little flatter. So here's this regular y equals x parent function, and my new line kind of went like this. So because the 2/3, it went flatter, and the +4, if you notice, it shifted up. So let's look at our options here. The graph of the new line is steeper. Well, again, we said this line was here, and then my new line kind of went like this a little bit. Okay, so to me, that doesn't get steeper. Steeper would be harder to climb. This looks easier to climb now. So I say A's out right off the bat. Okay, the graph of the new line is less steep. I agree with that. And the y-intercept has been translated up. Okay, I agree with that. So I'm going to wait. The graph of the new line is steeper. Ooh, there's that word again. We don't like it. Gone. The graph of the new line is less steep. I agree. And the y-intercept has been translated down. Ooh, I don't agree with that. We noticed on this graph right here that my y-intercept was translated up from the +4, which means D is out of the picture, and B is my answer. We're going to go to the next one. So the table below shows ordered pairs that belong to the quadratic function. Okay, so you know this is a quadratic graph. What is the range of H? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of semi-plot this personally. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say, okay, I see -1, 2, 3, 4, and +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, obviously, I'm just sketching this, okay? So I know my -4 is all the way up here, +41, so I'm way up here. -2 is 17, we're somewhere here. 0 is 1. 2 is -7. 3 is -8. So if we look at this right here, we see this is our vertex, right? And then we come back up and we come back up. So this is kind of the graph right here. Okay. So range is our y values. So I know I come over here and I do what, you know, Coach Redeker taught me. My lowest value here is -8. My highest value is infinity. So I know it's everything from -8 and higher. So this is all real numbers, which means all the way down and all the way up. We know that's not good. This one says all real numbers greater than or equal to -7. Well, -7's here, but that means all of these numbers, but it totally missed down here, so that doesn't work. All real numbers greater than or equal to -8. So here's -8, everything greater. That looks pretty solid. All real numbers greater than or equal to 0, so that would be here up. I'd be missing all of this down here, so that doesn't work. So this is my only option. Okay? Number 13, very wordy. Okay, and if you look over here at answer choices, these look like systems of equations, so I'm just writing what I know, okay? A sports magazine prints a total of 12 issues per year, and a technology magazine prints 10 issues per year, okay? So we've got a sports and a technology. Okay. The total number of pages in all of the issues of the sports magazine for 1 year is 32 more than the total number of pages in all the technology magazines for the year. So this is my first equation because it says the total number of pages in the sports for 1 year is, so sports is 32 more than whatever T is. So T plus 32. Okay? Now, if you look, you notice I don't see that over here. And the reason is because it says the issues for the whole year. So if you notice, a sports magazine does 12 issues per year. So those 12 issues and those 10 issues have to be a part of the S and the T. Okay, this one's very, 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 very tricky. It's not my favorite, personally. So if you notice, this is the only one that matches that. Now, let's look at the next one, because even if you couldn't get this one, let's see if the second one helps a little bit. Each of the issues, so now they're talking about individual issues, not the total issues, of the sports has 18 fewer than technology. So the sports is going to have the technology's total minus 18 for just one issue. Okay, now that one leaves this one available, and it leaves this one available. So this one and this one we can cancel out. So even if we struggled with our original equation, you know that the 12 should be going with the S and that the 10 should be going with the T. So that's how you know that this one is the correct answer. It's kind of a little tricky though, so you need to make sure that, you know, you focus on that one and look through it, because they normally have one where they really make you think about those systems. Okay, next one. It says, what is the y-intercept of the line graphed on the grid? Okay, so really what this is saying is, hey, here's 2 points. Put your equation in slope-intercept form so that you can tell me what the y-intercept is. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So we've done problems like this all the time. So right now, what am I given? I'm given 2 points. So I can go into point slope form, but I got to get my slope. Okay, so 1 minus 7 over 6 minus a negative 2. 1 minus 7 is negative 6 over 4. So negative 3/2. Okay, that should be our slope. And then from there, oh, not 3/2, I'm sorry, I just made a mistake. That should have been 6/8. Go back, sorry, my fault. 1 minus 7 is negative 6. 6 plus 2 is 8, leaving me with negative 3/4. Sorry, guys. So now I have a point and I have a slope. I'm going to use 6, 1, okay? 1, so y minus y1. So y minus 1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, now we're going to solve. Y minus 1 equals negative 3/4 x plus 18/4 if you put it in your calculator. I'm now going to add 1 to both sides, which is going to give me y equals negative 3/4 x plus 22/4. Now, if you put 22/4 in your calculator, let's go ahead and do that, because that's our y-intercept. But when I bubble in, because it says you're bubbling it in, it wants it in decimal form. So it gives me 11/2, which means I'm going to do menu, number, convert to a decimal, and I'm going to get 5.5. Okay, that should have been very straightforward for us. Okay.